everybody! Welcome to another tier list. But this time, we are doing a tier list for Hush Hush characters. Exciting stuff. Sweetie, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful today. I'm really excited for this tier list. Anyone who's watched the Hush Hush playthrough, well, Hush Hush playthrough on her second channel, will know that initially I was extremely hesitant about getting through this game, but now we finished it. It's easily become it's definitely top three in favorite games of all time for me.
And
But
You said Mio's become one of your top 10, hasn't she?
yes, top 10 favorite killers of all time. Yes. Um, actually, there's one other one which I know you know about, but uh, but um,
so,
uh, yeah.
sorry. No, you continue.
Oh no. So I'm just really excited that we talk about this, and it's especially excited for when my darling here decides to eventually do a retrospective about this game.
Yay! I'm very excited. I'm gonna be hopefully doing that after DDLC.
Woo! Yay! It's gonna be like Crush Crush though, right? Before Hush Hush.
No, Crush Crush, I don't know if I can make a separate video on. I mean, I might do a separate Crush Crush video, but honestly, it might be like really short because
Okay.
there's not really as much to discuss about it. Um, but yeah, so the way we were going to be doing this is we're gonna go back and forth. So for this first one, Ark is gonna pick a character for me. I'm gonna talk about them, and then he's gonna talk about them, and then I'm gonna pick a character for him to talk about, and then it goes back to me to talk about, and so on and so forth.
Wait.
Because I think we found that that's the most interesting way to do things. Because I think we have a more equal balance of discussion between us that way.
hmm
So,
Um.
any final thoughts before we properly start?
Uh. Is this everyone?
I
But
I
no.
believe it's literally every single character.
Okay. Um.
So you may pick whoever you would like.
Uh. Hmm. Copernicus, please.
Copernicus, starting off one of the goddesses.
I am starting off with one or two that we first
Okay,
meet.
let me see. I'm just setting her there. So, the thing is, obviously, I have Crush knowledge, right? And I mean that's definitely gonna a little bit influence some characters in a little bit some ways. Copernicus is a really weird case because in in Crush she is a wholly good character. She's like the poster, like she's like when you do stuff in the tutorial, the menus, even when you like buy gems, she's like, oh, thank you for supporting us. So, you know, she's like the poster child, and then she's also like the final character in the main story that you romance. And she's a completely good character. However, in Hush Hush, she and Thelema are kind of like morally gray, which is really fascinating. Making her out to be like, yeah, they do have seemingly good intentions, but the fact that they do kind of toy with people's lives, they alter how people feel, they alter memories, they basically set off this entire change of events. They are the reason that Dorian turned out the way that he did. It's so morally gray. It's really intriguing, and it's gonna be really fun to talk about in the video. um, I definitely think Copernicus is way more interesting because Thelema is very clearly like she is like evil. She's the bad one, you know, the evil one. She tells you to use dark stuff and everything. So she's very openly evil about their stuff. Copernicus tries to excuse me, I'm sorry. Copernicus tries to kind of hide it behind like flower language and be like, "Yes, you are. We might. There was some stuff that happened, but you're the hero and you solved everything. It's okay." It's like, I don't know. I wish she'd got a little bit more of a presence But I think as it stands, honestly, I think actually B is probably a good place to put her. She's intriguing on her own. On like the base value, should be like a C because she doesn't have much of a prevalence. But that morally grayness makes her an interesting enough character to put her in B for me.
Do you want to also knock out Thelema at the same time as Copernicus? Because I feel like most of what you said about Copernicus can also apply.
You know what? Sure,
Um,
we'll just do them. We'll do them both. So, Thelema, the alternative side, obviously. I will say, I don't like her design as much as the dark one from Crush Crush, but that might just be because it's a goth Mio, and I kind of wish we got that. I kind of wish we still had that. Um, but oh well, ranking her on her own as a thing. Her being so open and honest about the evilness and like that what they did was kind of fucked up makes her a lot less interesting to me, in my opinion. I think it's a lot less intriguing, and honestly, yeah, I'm gonna put her in C. Just because without that like extra grayness to her, she kind of falls into what I said before by Copernicus. On its own, it's just kind of meh. And again, she's not even like I'm into goth and everything, but she just does not really hit it for me.
that's
Right.
why I was so surprised. And I mean, you started off by I don't like the design. I was like, wait, what? It's like I do like us, but no, I get it.
It's mostly the hair. I don't like the hair very much.
Aw.
So I'd say yeah, she's the same role as Copernicus, but less interesting because she's more honest and blunt about it.
Okay. So this is a bit of an interesting case because unlike Red here, I have no experience in Crush Crush. My only experience with the series is Hush Hush. So my rankings are gonna be solely based off of in the context of the game, and in the context of the game, it's kind of interesting because uh, when I first saw Copernicus, she almost immediately caught my attention because she had a pleasant voice. Her outfit was extremely distracting. Her design's great. Red would know. Uh, the and yeah, she has much more pleasant voice than the counterpart
She has a
Thelema.
lot of personality.
But
She has two
yes,
very big personalities. Sorry,
um,
I love that joke.
so I guess it's interesting to me because do I rank her? Do I rank her and Thelema based off of the fact that they caused they sent you on a journey to meet everyone else throughout the course of the game. Because if I'm ranking them based off of that alone, then by proxy they both immediately jump into S. And yeah, because otherwise the game wouldn't exist. If I'm
I
just
mean,
ranking
yeah,
them,
that's the same thing that you can say about like Monica, though, is that it will
yes,
because of her the game happens, but that doesn't make her a good person or a good character. I mean,
I
she's a
guess
good
from
character, but you know what I mean.
yeah. At the same time, like in Spookies, like the trauma things, like the nightmare. Technically, you want to put those in S because that's what killed Spooky and led the game to happen. But like, nah, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm not gonna do that then. Another point to rank them is like good versus evil. Obviously, do I want to rank them based off of the choices that the good or evil side uh allow you to do? Because technically the good is all Copernicus, the evil is all Thelema, and the neutral is all like yourself, quote unquote, is neither side. But no, I think I should just rank them based off of the what they got. And what they got, they unfortunately don't have much. They greet you at the beginning, they send you on a quest, and then they greet you at the very end. And you have the option to uh have uh hush hush with no have yeah have whoopee with them, which I mean by that point of the game you probably already have done so on like many times, unless you want to do like a pacifist, like all Voisin like a Voisin run from the first playthrough, which I mean more power to you. But
It's funny that you bring that up because thinking about it, it definitely feels a little like, okay, don't get me wrong, I get the protagonist like maybe sleeping with other characters to make them like for the sole intent of making them closer, right? It's like, well, if you're literally trying to save their lives, I think that's kind of justification for sleeping with someone, even if you don't really fully have feelings for them, because you're literally trying to save their life. I think that's
I think it's
some
a
decent justification. But
I
then,
think it's a means to an end, definitely.
yeah. But then it's like, you get to the end of the game, you have saved, everybody is safe, you have chosen who you want to take with you and spend your life with, and then the goddesses show up and ask if you basically want to be unfaithful.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I didn't really like consider that in the moment, but like thinking back on it like for this, it's like wow, that's actually kind of scummy.
Yeah, to be honest, I agree. Um, Initially I was gonna go with you and put Copernicus and B and Thelema and C, but honestly, I think they're both gonna go and C. They just don't have enough presence, and like the what they do have is just not
Hey,
enough, and
sweetie,
also reflects on them. Yes,
who's topping?
uh, I mean, of the two of these, I feel like Thelema's more of a top, but
You know what I
you
mean. I was making a
yeah.
joke.
Okay, no, I mean again, but yeah, Copernicus first, please.
I figured. Did you have any other things you wanted to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna finish it off by saying like what it did get is just not enough, and in fact puts him in a bad light. I do think my not exposure to Crush where these killers are actually more killers, more perhaps more likable killers, is definitely negatively affecting this. But hey, darling, if you want to like put your bias, like if you want to you know uh
If you
I,
you are you're saying it's okay for me to be biased towards Crush?
yes, I think so, because it's kind of hard not to, even if you say I'm not
Well,
gonna put my bias in there.
that doesn't really apply for most. Like, it's literally like just these two that I think that applies to. Okay,
Well,
maybe Fumi a little bit because I feel like Fumi is less honestly somehow less interesting in Hush Hush than in Crush because in Crush she's literally like a scientist from the future who time traveled from the future to help stop the world from dying, which I think is more interesting.
um okay, yeah, that's completely fair, but I mean at the same time I know like there's a bunch of other returning killers from Crush into this game, like Alpha, Mio,
Yeah, but
Fumi,
you
as you
have to
mentioned.
remember they don't really get much personality in Crush. That was the big thing. And the personality that they do get is from their is from their phone flings, which I excuse me, I'm so sorry, which I honestly don't really remember that much.
Okay, then that's fine.
Besides,
Just
even with Copernicus and Thelema, they wouldn't really change their spots, even if I did account for that.
okay, that's fine. Yeah, well, I guess the only reason I'm ranking them like this low is because I do feel like this is not they're not justifiable enough to rank them in the same tier as some of the other killers that we're gonna have later on in the same tier.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw you a curveball, and I'm gonna say Mystic.
Mystic. Oh my. Okay. Uh, Mystic is a bro. Mystic is great. Um, from the very beginning, I mean, his whole presence in the game is basically giving you secrets throughout the course of the game. Well, hints towards the killer's secrets, which of course means that you learn more about his killers. Of course, it's not necessary. Like you can, of course, beat the game without getting a single secret, which of course is oops, which is an ideal way of playing. But I mean, at the same time, he does give you like a lot of useful information through the hindoscopes, And his personality is honest. His personality and voice and design is honestly, in my opinion, all great. He's very helpful. He's very supportive. Um, he doesn't show up all that often. Like he basically only confined to like his place, which is a mystic, which makes sense. But at the same time, I do feel like that hurts his ranking just a little bit. The only other time that he shows up, uh, is outside of that is of course at the airport, which is a point where everyone can theoretically show up. But at the same time, you know, I'm really glad that he shows up, and even if you have never interacted with him, because we did that in the very last route, we never talked to Mystic at all, but he still decided to like interact with us and say, "Hey, if you want to have like want to take one of these girls with you, who is gonna be?" Which I do think is really nice. It to be honest, after showing, because you think like only 1 month with all these kills isn't enough time to, you know, grow too attached or too close to them, but no, after learning so much about them, and actually like experiencing such a deep relationship with them, you actually do care a lot about them, and just
It's like you
knowing that
simultaneously feel like you really know them, but you also wish there was more.
yeah, and exactly, and especially when all the killers, like all the main five, says goodbye to you. That's definitely like heart wrenching to me to see, because you definitely changed all of them for the better. So the fact that at the very end you have to like leave them all behind is definitely crushing. So the fact that
Hmm.
Mystic allows you to take one of them with you, I mean no pun intended, is well, it's definitely wonderful. He's great, but I wish he had more of a presence. But I understand why he doesn't. He's gonna go in he's gonna go in A for me.
See, I find this really interesting because I did not use the Mystic at all in my first playthrough. In my personal playthrough, I did not use the Mystic. So, and honestly, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because getting to see him in your playthrough was honestly really cool, because I was kind of blown away by how much personality he was given. First off, revealing him to be kind of like on the same wavelength as you, obviously, is cool. uh it also is like that first hint that you're not the only person in existence that has like heard of or met the goddesses, which is kind of really subtle foreshadowing for Dorian later. But also him having like a pretty like cool personality, talking about how uh especially over the hintoscopes the further they go along, and like giving you that insight, that extra insight into the idea that like the goddesses, especially once the goddesses start trying to like mess with him and like literally almost kill him at one point, and it gives you that extra hint that like, oh, maybe the goddesses are kind of there might be something, it's kind of sinister going on here. And yeah, and that's just really cool. Then by the end, like we said, like, by the end, like he has a like fairly fleshed out personality. He has a really nice voice. Him being the one that helps you like take one of the girls with you, even if you've literally never met him before, is genuinely really cool of him. He was like genuinely surprising as like a character, as like even for like a minor character. So yeah, I'm also gonna think I'm gonna put him in A, because he's just like, it's really interesting how much of a personality and like presence he had, despite really just being a hint character.
Okay.
Okay.
This will just be a very quick one, but let's get out of the way. Let's just do the loot scenes, man. Whatever.
Sir Vix. Yeah, fuck this guy. He's I mean, he's kind of funny. He has some funny puns, but he's just annoying. He's just an extra like throwaway DLC. Maybe he does say some extra stuff if you do get like 100% of all the porn images and everything. I haven't seen it. I don't really care to go see it until I'm recording for the video. Um, as of right now, he's just kind of there. And He's just a little annoying. His he is not particularly interesting to look at. He's got like kind of an annoying voice. All that's going for him is the puns, and that's not good enough.
So yeah, obviously D because because I have no exposure to this guy because
Outside of that
apparently
first interaction.
outside of first interaction because when I tried to see what's the question mark, she said no, we're not going to because we both decided that this guy was just so annoying that we were just better off not going there, and he didn't really add anything to like the playthrough even when it does show up. The only good thing I can say about him is like he's based off of the half naked dancing guy in Yakuza. uh, but this is not how this is not how you go about it. That's disrespectful. Even as ridiculous as that guy in Yakuza is, at least he's more entertaining in our opinion. So we're moving on. Just bad dream.
Okay. Uh. Hmm. Okay, sweetie.
Yes.
1, 2, or 3.
Right down the middle. Let's go with 2.
I want you to talk about Quill.
Would 1 and 3 Mio and Alpha?
Mio and Peanut.
Oh, okay.
I'm saving Mio for later.
Okay. um, Quill. Quill is freaking adorable. Anyone who, okay, well, I guess only really Red knows this about me, but uh, anyone who I guess has watched Honey Pop playthrough knows that I have quite the fondness toward cat girls because to this day I still find Momo in that game to be one of the cutest characters in potentially all of video gaming. But if I made like a top 10 cutest characters in video games, I feel like she would make the top cut. And Quill, of course, being, I mean, Quill isn't as cute as Momo, but she's still great. Um,
Can't
she
believe you
has
would say that about your poor kitty.
sorry. Um, she obviously has some extremely cute moments, like the whole she puts up the plushies around a table and then invites you to like a tea party. I think that's adorable. Uh, and obviously the whole she just acts genuinely like a normal cat would, despite being, you know, an actual girl, you know. So yeah, I the basically this Kyoto is all about adorableness, and if this kind of like cat girl thing doesn't work for you, then you're probably not gonna like Quill very much because of the 5 main girls, Quill is unfortunately the one with the least interesting story, and quite by, in my opinion, pretty wide margin. Um, well, no, actually, yes, because the only thing I can remember about Quill that's really of any significance is her telling you about hearing the gunshot in the alley, which we later find out to be Dorian, which is obviously like a massive reveal in of itself. But compared to everything that happened in the other 4, um, such a thing alone doesn't, in my opinion, stand up. Of course, we also know that she's being wanted by both Dorian and Fumi, which of course is interesting too. But I mean, even still, because her last date, unlike all of the other killers, her last date is almost feels like an afterthought. It's just basically her last date is basically because with all the others, it's just the conclusion of the story. Which I guess you could say the same about Quill, but everyone else's conclusion of the story is so much more expanded and so much more heavy and emotional.
The
With
only the
Quill's,
only other one that I would say is Cassie's final date is doesn't feel as much like a conclusion to her story, but that's because it's setting up the final confrontation with Dorian.
mhm. I want to say that right because that leads to another thing. With Quill's final date, it doesn't lead to anything. It just ends after that, right? So so that's what I'm basing Cassie's off of because Cassie's is at least leading up to like the conversation we're doing. Which I personally want to count like the conversations we're doing as part of Cassie's final date, which I know is like maybe stretching it, but I mean that's what I'm deciding to go for. But and plus even if we don't, the whole conversation with like trying to resolve Cassie's debt and confronting Liliana will anything wrong you say can just get you like
There's like
John.
there's like three different ways you can die in that scene.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely a high stakes moment, a high stakes scene, and as the same with all the other scenes, like all the other goals, you can either die yourself or make your destined one die. With Quills, that can't happen unless it's blatantly missed something. Because in Quills, it's just hey, say goodbye, and then she reveals that this is actually her house, which is cool.
She wraps up lingering questions.
And then you say goodbye, and potentially can have sex, which yeah, we could do that with all of them, so that's not really anything to take care of. Tina, I'm sorry. I maybe this is messed up to say, but I the whole me and Red have come up with a okay bye funny joke because we didn't realize until my playthrough just how much she loves to say that. And the whole okay bye it's honestly just repeat is honestly just really cute.
we it's become something that we say in person now too.
Yeah. and um and again maybe this is messed up to say, but when she's afraid of the thunderstorm and just like curled up like in the side, just like holding her hands over her ears. It's like, oh no, no. And it's like you have the opposite skill. I don't know why, but for some reason it's just like, okay, the opposite skill is extremely messed up, and of course leads to one of the worst deaths in the game, but in which I guess is subjective, but there are some brutal ones. Um, but yeah, again, I guess it's all comes around to saying that she's just adorable. She gives some lore, and she is basically just a personal kitty, your personal companion to take care of while you're inside within the household, which is nice in of itself. But when you have a game where everyone is basically competing for that spot, you really have to like do a lot, like set up like competition. And as close one of the destined ones, she unfortunately is falling behind if we're taking account taking account anything but adorableness. So I love her, but I'm gonna put her in A but and below Mystic, please. She left him be, yeah.
I was gonna say, I think having gone through again, I think she's the second, not worst, but second least good of the five destined. Because she is adorable. She's really adorable. She has a very cute voice. Her I don't fully jive with like her appearance exactly, but I do think that she has like cute aspects of her. I think her connection to Dorian is really cool. The fact that she owns the house, like her being connected to so many mysteries that you don't find out till the end is like kind of is really interesting. Her being like the owner of the house and everything, so all this stuff, all the weird things that have happened throughout the game of her like knowing where things are or like stuff like that, knowing things that she probably shouldn't is really cool. Um, But I definitely think that she just doesn't really stand up to the others. Like you said, she doesn't stand up to the others as well as I feel like she could. She's great, but just it's hard when you're standing up to like Iro, Mio, and L. It's really hard. Um,
It's not her fault. It's just all too good, I guess.
yeah, exactly. It's being just good amidst great. You know. You basically summarized a lot of other stuff about her too, though. I feel like I don't have honestly have as much to say about her as I feel like I should. She definitely has the most like nudity centered introduction, which I think is maybe a point for her. Um, I also feel like she's one of the most like I feel like she's the most difficult to get secrets out of. Maybe I don't know. It might to me. I think it's like her and L that are the hardest to get secrets out of. Which I don't know if that's even like a good or a bad thing, to be honest. Wow, I think there are other characters that do the cat girl aesthetic way better. Although I do find it interesting that she's not, because I was definitely wondering, and something in Crush Crush is that they never exactly made it clear to my recollection whether she actually was a cat girl or if she was just a girl pretending to be one. I'm glad that in this game they clarified that like she is just a person. It's just that she has a lot of trauma. Um, and she just wants to be a cat girl, but she still apparently is like rich or something, rich enough to like have a house and everything. Like she's a person and she knows that she isn't actually a cat, but she just has a lot of trauma and wants to like kind of get away from it by being a cat and you know all that stuff. So yeah, I think B is a good spot for her. Who next?
uh, hmm. Harris, please.
Harris. Ooh, Harris is such an interesting one because it was so fun. Okay, so Harris was so weird for me because in my playthrough, I knew that Mio had a stalker because the achievements, the achievements and everything like give it away. So Liliana showing up at the end of Mio's second date and everything, and like her, like I thought, I thought she was the stalker, especially since she shows up again, um, at like I don't know the second time that because I'm pretty sure that was the first time that I saw Liliana was at Mio's second date because I didn't get any other events with her before that. So I thought she was the stalker. So that to get to the end and then this like seemingly random guy shows up and I did not remember seeing. I got the arcade or the mini golf event instead of the bar one, so I didn't see him the first time, and then I didn't remember him being in the event with Ruri. But so to me, he was just like a random guy that shows up. It's like I don't know. It's going back and looking at it the second time. It is cool seeing him have some kind of like build up, admittedly, and also he has a really strong personality. He's incredibly after playing it the first time, he was incredibly memorable and everything. And I think he makes for like a pretty decent antagonist. Um, he makes it very satisfying to take him down, to say the least. Whether you kill him or just get him arrested or whatever. Um, my main complaint is that his obviously he's tied to Dorian because and like the gang and everything, but it's not really made explicitly clear how. Because like I think the implication is supposed to be that he's stalking Mio because Dorian ordered him to, because Dorian thought she would be one of the um one of the destined. So he ordered him to stalk her, but that doesn't really feel right with the way that he talks about, because the way that he talks about it is that he wants to stalk her because he wants to fuck her. Oh, even though in the end he's insane enough that he also just kills her when she rejects him. So I don't know what exactly the implication is supposed to be. It's also implied that he might have the reason he might have so much money to spend on her is because he works for the drug dealers and everything, and for Dorian. But it's not really clear enough for me to get a full idea of the picture and what exactly his motivations were, other than just wanting to have sex with Mio and getting angry when she says no. So it's like that he does kind of have that going against him. But otherwise, he has a very strong personality. It's cool to go back around the second time around and see him in his two other appearances. Um, and he honestly has a pretty nice appearance. He looks his sprites are so good at making it genuinely or do a very good job at making him look insane. Plus, making him lose to Ruri is extra satisfying the second time around. So I was thinking, I know I'm gonna keep him at the bottom of B.
So Harris, as you mentioned, you would think that this due to how batshit insane and how easy it is to dislike him, that I would just place him in like the bottom of D tier and leave it at that. But no, he is of the antagonists, apart from Dorian, I would honestly say he's either my second or third favorite, to be honest, because just how far his insanity goes and how far his stalker tendencies are, and how much you can like taunt him throughout the course of the game is so satisfying. You see him, you get to you get to mess him up when he unplug his game when he's trying to compete with Rory. You get some build up at the end of Mio's second date, as you mentioned, with him showing up at the very end. You get another scene with him of
No, he
Harris.
doesn't show up in the second date. He shows up in the event where you can choose to either drink with Mio or go do mini golf.
Oh, okay, right. I'm sorry. Um, and he let's see, he shows up at the fourth date. When Harris tells you to leave me alone, and then it's really satisfying just to be like, yeah, okay, sure, just do whatever hell you want, and then and then at the fifth date, you obviously put an end to it and either kill him or get him arrested. Which, to me, a villain has always been satisfying just based off of how likable they are in spite of being a villain, and how cathartic it is for you to take them down. For me, Harris checks all of those boxes. He has a great voice. His voice actor did a phenomenal job. His personality throughout, um, where he's basically a competitor, quote unquote, for Mio's attention, is genuinely so satisfying. Especially given that it's clear that Mio has eyes for you. That obviously ticks Harris off.
You know what else is like a nice little detail that I like?
Yeah, yeah.
You would think with Harris being a stalker of Mio, you would think that he would know her very well, but then he can't even fucking register that she's very clearly like a bisexual. When he's talking with me, when he's talking with Ruri, and he's like, there's no way that she likes girls. It's like, are you not fucking paying attention? Because
um,
I think it's pretty obvious that she swings both ways.
and I think my favorite moment is during Mio's stream where you can just like completely taunt him by him like messaging you and saying what the f are you doing, and then you can say, oh, you want some money, you have some, and he's like, You're gonna regret this.
You know,
Just
you know, you
like,
get an achievement for that too.
yeah, which I think is just so funny. It's basically given that at the very end you just like win the auction too, which is just an actual like spit of face. Like, hey, I gave you some pity money, but I still won. So suck it, node. So I think again, as I mentioned, he checks all the boxes for being an entertaining villain. And I really like the build-up he has for the course of the game. It'd be one thing if he just only showed up at like the fourth date and like he never didn't really appear again and had like, a very minimal presence. But Hush Hush is, I think, we're going to Psychos. Hush Hush did him very very well, which I mean makes sense given that he's directly connected to Mia's storyline. So, um, I would
Hush
put him in
Hush,
B tier.
Hush Hush as a game is like, it's so fascinating because it feels like it should be one of those games that is very surface level, right? But then it has like a surprising amount of like foreshadowing and build up and character like stuff, you know? Like obviously there is so much foreshadowing for Dorian throughout the entire game that's like honestly not really like super obvious, but like once you play it the second time around, it's all so like, oh, it's all fascinating. Like playing through the game and seeing the evil options, talking about like, oh yes, Dorian Reed, your reputation precedes you, and like there's so many little things that like that. And Harris is a good example of like him kind of like hanging around the bar and everything, and it's like you don't really think too much about it anytime you see him because he just feels like it's just another random guy. Um, but then it's like, no, he's foreshadowing. And I think it's especially cool for me because as someone who didn't play Blush Blush like at all, like almost at all, anytime that there was a male character, I just assumed it was after I saw Nim for the first time, because Nim is the first character that you unlock uh in Blush Blush, and I saw Nim for the first time, and so I just kind of assumed that all the male characters in this game are going to be from like Blush Blush. So I just whenever I would see characters like Harris or Dorian, I would just assume that they were probably from the other game because the way that Blush Blush works is that some of the characters are like just gender swapped versions of characters in Crush Crush. Like the first phone fling is someone who's supposed to be basically the male version of Peanut. So do you know what his name is?
Not P.
Cashew.
Oh.
So it's stuff like that. So I assumed that like Dorian was the gender swapped version of L, or like Dimitri was the gender swapped version of Lotus, and everything like that. So it for someone like me, it also just kind of flew under the radar to not really give Harris any thought because it was like, oh, maybe it's just a character that I don't know. But you know, whatever. I think it's really cool that they have these like foreshadowing things throughout the game, and that's really fascinating to me. Hmm. Hmm. 1, 2, or 3. I'm torn between 3 characters.
3.
3, Callie.
Callie. Oh, Callie's definitely a kyoto that I've swung back and forth on. Her introduction was um, definitely something that I wasn't a fan of. I mean, obviously, when I see this design, I mean, her design. Sorry, uh, when she gets introduced, she of course gets introduced with Alice in an alleyway. And the instant I saw both of the designs, I immediately knew, oh gosh, are you two prostitutes? And especially Alice's
Excuse
design.
me.
Bless you. Alice's design. I'm like, well, this girl clearly looks like she takes uh, lots of drugs. So which I guess does make sense given that they're both associated with Liliana and Cassie. But at the same time, it's just, yeah, they did not leave a very good first impression. I mean, neither of them did. But unfortunately, I mean, I guess I'll continue by saying, unfortunately, after that, she doesn't really get a whole lot of scenes. She only gets a few more, two more off the top of my head, and they're both related to, uh,
Hero.
funnily enough, Eero, right? Because when I saw the designs in the alley, I immediately thought to associate them with like Cassie because that's where she will lounge around.
The
So I
thing,
guess
the
Eero
thing
had-
is, it's like Callie and Alice are friends with each other. Callie is friends with Eero, and Alice is friends with Cassie.
um, and I, you know, it's funny because those scenes that she has with Eero, I really, really like. I really like that she's being supportive, that she's seemingly clear-minded, that she's very playful, teasing, and just clearly wants the best for Eero because in one of Eero's dates, I think it was the beach date, where you make a move on Cassie and Eero steps away. Callie is the one who has like, "What the f are you doing? Like, are you playing with her heart?" And I really like that moment because it shows us how much she like values the
And
friendship.
it's funny because she's the one who brings up like, oh, you might need to make her a little bit jealous to do that. But then when Cassie shows up and you do that, she's like, dude, what are you doing? That's way too far.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it reinforced my point that I'm really glad that it clearly shows like she cares about you, cares about your relationship with Eero, cares about her friendship with Eero, um, and cares about her feelings and relationships in general to be able to stand up to that rather than just like seeing you make your choice and be like, oh, good job, and just walk away. So I really like that. She did leave a bad first impression, but that just might be just because of me. The truth of the matter is, every other scene she has is wonderful, and since then she's definitely lost a good impression on me. Unfortunately, even despite that, she doesn't have as much screen time as those in everyone in A. So that's foreshadowing, but even still, uh,
Just like the
what,
game.
for what? Sorry, what'd you say?
I said foreshadowing, just like the game.
Just for the game. Whoa. Uh, but yeah. Will initially I might have put her at like the top of D or the bottom of C. Now she can probably be at the top of B, which I may depending on how the ranking goes, I may end up adjusting her to like the very bottom of A. We'll see when the final adjustments comes around. But for now, this is a good placement in my opinion.
So, that's really funny because that's literally like basically the exact same kind of mentality that I have had. First time they showed up, Alice and Callie. I was like, oh, okay. I know you are not from Crush Crush, so I don't know who you are. You're probably just like random side characters for this random event where you could choose to do something that'll probably give you bad karma if you do it. Um, I actually still don't know if you do get bad karma from doing that or not. But I thought they were just gonna be random throwaway characters, and then they showed up again, and I was like, oh, wait, okay. Maybe they're romanceable side characters like Bonnie is, although they still aren't from Crush Crush, so I don't know. And then when I looked them up and I found out that they were characters created by Kickstarter for Kickstarter backers, I was like, that's really cool. That's really cool that like there was these two people that like they got recognized for like, helping the game, and they got entire characters made for the game, which is really cool, that were like actually like story relevant. And then again, it's like you said, she shows up in Eero's stuff, and it's like, wow, she's actually like kind of a fun character. I really like her. I definitely like her more than Alice. um And it's like I honestly feel like the second your playthrough, I feel like I appreciated her even more the second time around as well. So I definitely think she's like, for being a side character that you can't really romance, she leaves. It's like I could not remember their names after my playthrough. And even if I did remember their names, I would not have been able to remember who was who. After your playthrough, I remembered them perfectly. And it's like, they left way better of an impression the second time around for me. So, and her in particular, is really, really cool because she's such a good friend to Hiro. It's genuinely really nice. Um, yeah, I'm gonna put her above Copernicus.
You can crowded.
Oh well, it's just the ones that we've been picking.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just teasing. Let's see. Go for Roy. She's a great character.
Ruri? Okay. So the funny thing about Ruri is that most of my love for her is gonna be like it's so hard not to be so biased from Crush Crush because I think after Peanut, Ruri was like my second or third favorite phone fling because she's just not only is she super adorable, she checks a lot of my boxes for like character design that I really like. You know, petite, small, shorter hair, the white hair color, the kind of cat ear hoodie stuff, skirt. It's everything. So many of like her personality, or not her personality, so many of her appearance traits perfectly check off my boxes, and then her personality is also really enjoyable to me. Um, I actually feel like I enjoy her personality a little bit less in Hush Hush than in Crush Crush, but I think her voice makes up for it for me. It balances it out because I really, really like her voice in that game in Hush Hush. And then, not on top of that, she has one of the best early game events where you can get $1,000 super early in the game from her, and that's like a really big help that early in the game. So, plus she's friends with Mio, who is one of the best characters. Period. So that also does a lot for her. So honestly, I think I'm gonna put if I want it. Honestly, I think even without the Crush Crush bias, I still think that she would probably be like low A, high B. But I think even with that, like even with it, she's definitely solidified as like bottom of A for me.
So Rory for me, like the other side killers, as mentioned with Kelly and Alice, she really could have benefited from more scenes. But unlike Kelly and Alice, she never got off on a bad first impression. She,
Her first impression is actually really really good.
yeah, her first impression is actually really really good. Like, helps you like immensely. She's one of the best like early game events you can get in the
She makes fun of Harris, which is like way funnier in hindsight. She confirms that Mio is definitely bisexual, and she potentially gives you $1,000.
yeah, okay. Um yeah, I mean again. Um I really like, normally it's really funny because normally I'm not like that big of a fan of killers who are like just one tone and very like push glasses up analytical kind of killers. But really makes it work. She repays you for helping you sabotage Harris, which of course is always satisfying. She actually gets flustered in when you and Mio are in the park with Rory, and
I love
they're
that
doing
so
communication.
much that like
And,
even though it's very subtle, you can tell that you do get to her and she does get a little bit flustered.
and maybe this is just I don't know if I want like because the time margin between who wins between Mio and Rory is so small that I almost want to say that Rory intentionally throws that because she's aware of like how just from the fact that you flirted with her, how much Mio meant to you, the player. So like she decided to intentionally throw that game, which
Dude,
I
I've never thought of it that way.
yeah, which again, I know I because when you flirt with her, I remember that she does blush a little bit, but given how um you know devoted she is and like how monotonous and just how calm she is, I find it just hard to believe that she would just like get flustered so bad that she just can't focus on what she was doing, especially since the tone of voice didn't change at all. Right after you flirt with her, after you flirt with her, she just gives like a simple question. Like, I think it was top or bottom. Um, so I might misremembering, but I think that's just a fun interpretation because the gap between whether Mio between Mio and Rory winning is, I think she said it was 0.4 seconds, which yeah, if Rory intentionally threw that game, then it would make sense. But like why the interval was so small. Um, but again, that's a great scene if in either case. And of course, he does have a final scene with on the beach with, I think they're playing Prodamon again. Which again, that one unfortunately is her weakest one, but she doesn't really have a whole lot, unlike the other two. But even still, she makes her presence known, and unlike Callie and Alice, and some of the other characters, she doesn't start off on a wrong foot. She actually gives you like one of the best ones. She has a great design. She has a great voice. And she is just a great killer overall. Uh, I love how I said just before the Callie section that um it is gonna be foreshadowed that unfortunately she doesn't have as much scenes as any other kills in A, which I think Rory still does has more screen time than Callie does, but even still, I can't put any lower than A. I'm gonna put her I can't put her above Quill. I'm gonna put her below Quill, please.
Hey, it's my turn to pick one for you, right?
Yes.
Let's do Cassie.
Oh boy, Cassie.
Also, let me know if you need a break for your voice or anything.
Yeah, no worries. I'm fine. Um, Cassie is Red and I both came to an agreement. Well, not an
We both
agreement. I
came.
just yes.
Sorry.
We
Sorry.
both I mean yes, but I mean, we both agreed upon that of the five destined, Cassie is unfortunately the one that we like the least. But to be clear, by no means does either of us hate her. We both think she's a great killer, and she does get better, a lot better over time as you get to know her better. Which I guess you can say the same thing about all of the Destin. Like all the introductions of more or less Shao, and then you start get to know them better. But Cassie starts out especially rough. Um, you and it's funny because in both our playthroughs, she was responsible for screwing up our run. In Red's case, she died twice. And so Red had to restart twice. In my playthrough, fortunately, I only had to go back 2 days, so it was still repairable, but it was still like so tilting. Just like trying to mind my own business, getting like thinking I'm doing a good job, and then boom, she died. Sorry. So we're
Oops.
both a little bit
Sorry.
sorry. Oopsies. Um, she has a bad introduction. We learn that she shoplifts, which I do find it funny that I immediately predicted that she does it out of necessity rather than she does it out of thrill, what she tried to tell you at the beginning. Um, but even still, the fact that you just stumble upon her in the change room and she cusses you out and then you saw off the wrong foot, it's just a can of worms overall. However, as you get to know her better, um, she naturally becomes better, as mentioned. From the third date onwards, she becomes a killer that both of us, or anyone really, should really sort of like, because she opens the scene with you at the I think it's the winery, where you go, where she opens up here and reveals about her uh friend, family member. I don't recall
Um,
exactly, but that you actually see her be vulnerable and actually break down.
it was like the woman who took her in after she ran away from home. So basically,
Mhm.
like a surrogate mother.
Mhm. So seeing her be vulnerable, seeing her actually break down when over the course of the first 2 days, you see her being like this huge, hard-headed person who you don't imagine is ever gonna show a weak side to, is gonna have a very hard time breaking through, and who you just kind of drop to be like a bitch, for lack of a better term. Actually be vulnerable and actually start breaking down is actually like such a powerful moment, and actually it's like in my opinion like a huge turning point for Cassie for me, because that actually shows like, she's actually vulnerable and that she actually cares about someone when the time comes. And of course, later on in the date, when I think it's the it's third fourth date, she reveals to you about her affiliations with the gang. She reveals to you about the debt. And she obviously cares for you, because when you when you want to help her, she just gives you a very powerful no, and just try to talk you out of it. Just like says, I'm not letting you do this for me. And I think that shows her vulnerable side too, because that shows again just like just like the surrogate mother, that when the time comes, she actually cares about someone, that someone is you. And it's just such a strong moment. And especially the fact that you get a scene with her where she she actually tries to um try to fix her wrongdoings by going back to the mall and initially trying to avoid, but you question like, what, you ask her like, why you at the mall? She's like, well, let's not live your business. But like, eventually you get the answer out of her that she's trying to like, she was returning the things she stole, which I think is a great moment. Cassie's storyline as a whole is kind of down the middle. It's not the darkest. It's not the most emotional. It's not the most hard hitting, but it is still amazing for what it is. Uh, Unfortunately, despite all of that, as mentioned before, as when I started my section, she the introduction does bring her down a little bit, even though like I theoretically should be a positive. And unfortunately, and I'm sorry, this is just my opinion to be clear, I I don't like her voice. I'm sorry. I think her voice. I
No,
think her voice actress.
okay,
I think.
I agree wholeheartedly. You know how I've said multiple times, like many times, one of the big things that going from Crush to this game was that I was so excited to get to hear actual like what the characters were gonna sound like, hear their voice acting. Cassie is one of the only characters where she basically did not perfectly match what I thought she was gonna sound like.
Uh, yeah. Okay. But I want to make clear, like, the voice actor did a fantastic job, and I just, yeah. All in all, she's a great killer. But again, of the five, she is just. I want to see like jack of all trades. I think is the best way to put it. So she does land an A, but bottom of A, but below Rory, please. I do like Rory more.
You've summed up basically most of what I said. As I said, she was the most of the time when I heard the characters' voices, it was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I pictured you sounding like. Yep, that's what I thought you would sound like. Cassie was the only one where I was like, oh, that's not what I expected. I don't think it's bad at all. Like you said, I think the voice actress does a really, really good job with what she's given. I just don't think the voice fits at all. I understand it for her, like her backstory, her being like Italian and everything, but it definitely does not fit her voice and her like personality, in my opinion. It just doesn't. Um, she's the least. I like her personality the least. I think she has the best turnaround, and she goes from being like really bad to being like honestly pretty good. Not as good as any of the others, but definitely pretty good in terms of the Destined Girls. She has the best turnaround. It's just that by the time that turnaround happens, all the other characters have also gotten like even better than they already were, and so it just keeps her in the same place essentially in like a ranking terms. She is the most connected to the main plot, however, which is a really good like bonus for her, I would say. Um, I don't know. You covered most of it, so she also I think she has the I like her design of the characters of the Destined Girls the least. So I'm gonna put her like a little bit below Quill.
Well, speaking of Cassie, let's talk about who's she's affiliated with closely, Liliana.
Ooh, Liliana. Liliana is, I think, she's like, it's so funny because I feel like she's simultaneously intimidating but also kind of silly. Like, she's intimidating, but she's also kind of generically intimidating. If that makes kind of, she's the tough girl who works for the big drug overlord, whatever. Uh, and she doesn't she sounds and acts intimidating. She just doesn't really look the part. But she's another one of those characters where I'm like I'm happy that we see her like quite a lot throughout the game. She has a lot of like foreshadowing to her. She shows up here and there and um sets up the like adds intrigue to the main plot, adds intrigue to Cassie's story. Has a funny moment with Kelby in that one event where you can try to make them kiss and it fails miserably and it's really funny. And then having a some you actually you and I do like that despite all her hard-headedness and all her like um like the intimidation, the being the generic one of the kind of a slightly generic bad guy. I do like that you do get to see a little bit of warmth from her in the event with Lotus. It honestly did a lot to her character for me to see that event, to see her like actually like be like kind of lower her guard just a little bit, just a little bit. It was really nice. And but it's also it's kind of like with Harris, it's absolutely satisfying to take her down at the end as well. um I'm trying to think what else. I think she's good at what she is. I feel like you could maybe do a little bit more, but I also feel like it's what you do get is great. I don't know why they fucking censor her face in the second Mio date. Like she only gets censored there, and that's it. It's kind of weird, but oh well. I think she's good at what she does, so that's where she's gonna go.
Okay,
You may
so
go ahead.
Liliana, you basically summed up as it tends to be with this tier list. You basically summed up a lot of my thoughts with her. She when you have the interactions with her while she is as the head of the gang, uh, you're right, pretty generic. She's just the the right hand in working under Dorian, and the secondary antagonist. Uh, but she does make her presence known, and she does fulfill her role as that. She also is the motivating factor in Cash's entire storyline. But as mentioned, she's kind of like curious in that. Well, she's like curious, and it's cathartic to take it down. Um, and that's about where it ends, to be honest, because unlike Harris, uh, I think she lacks the same kind of enjoyability, in my opinion, whenever she shows up on screen. Uh, and despite having more appearances than any other side characters, apart from maybe Fumi, um, she doesn't. I mean, she's
Yeah,
memorable.
but at least Fumi is like technically romanceable.
Yeah, but yeah. I guess the best way to put it is that she's just she's memorable, but at the same time, she's nothing spectacular. I think that's the best way. But what I will say is that when she isn't the acting as the head of the gang, as mentioned, she does have some very nice moments. Um, as mentioned, when she appears in the cafe and Lotus tries to flirt with her, I think that's a cute moment. I think the whole scene of you trying to get her and Kelby to kiss was a really cute moment. I think that was uh very uncharacteristic of her, but at the same time, that's exactly why I like it. And it's also really, as mentioned, cathartic at the very end when you deal with Dorian and Liliana walks in and is like, and then she's stunned, but and then just asks, "Hey, do you want me to serve you?" And then you can have the option like just grab the gun and just shoot her. It's like hell no. So
I just wish I wish it was longer.
honestly, I do too. I wish in the option that you push Dorian down the elevator shaft, that you get to see what happens after that, because um I assume that in that timeline you don't get on the airport. You don't get on a plane to leave the airport. You just stay in the city. And in that case, that can lead to in a whole nother game altogether. In which, how does
If you
this affect?
if if you kill Dorian, if you intentionally kill Dorian, by pushing like, well, if you push him down the shaft, I think I think there is a situation where you can get arrested for technically killing him, um, without getting the outright evil ending. I
Okay.
don't remember for sure though.
Well, we'll factor it. We'll factor. We'll go back eventually to full retrospective. But yeah, as it stands, Liliana is, as mentioned, she's fine, but nothing spectacular. I definitely like her less than Harris, but she still goes on B. I'm gonna below Harris, please.
Okay, shall we do a heavy hitter? Let's do
Hit
L.
me.
Let's do L.
Oh, so you may have noticed in both our tiers so far that we are completely absent. The S tier is completely absent. And that's intentional because we apparently both of us unanimously deciding that we're saving all of the best ones for last. But
Well, it's because
uh,
we both know who our top ones are.
yeah, exactly. But for me, L is, I mean, probably for both of us, L is my first S tier, and I'll get into why. She, I'll admit, L is perhaps tied with no. I think only aside from Cassie, she's the second worst as far as introductions go. You meet her, and you're immediately greeted by this soft-spoken girl who lives in a rich house, who is rich, who is formally dressed, who seems to be pampered and well protected by her brother, and you think to yourself, or thought to myself, oh gosh, this is gonna be just so generic, and I can't imagine this being anything interesting. Oh boy, did the game throw me for a loop.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah. Even as early as the second date, you learn that the reason her hair is dyed pink is because Dorian makes her dye it, and you immediately have a bit of mystery behind the whole situation. Like, what the heck is happening? And there's more to the story than that. It's clearly just waiting for you to find out. And as the story goes on, it builds more and more and more. You learn that Elle isn't happy and by what she is being treated, and that she's basically just uh basically just like put on a leash by Dorian and being led around, doing whatever or Dorian wants, which includes the revelation later that Dorian makes Elle's dye her hair pink, and that's also why she has to maintain a sense of professionalism around you in the first few dates, because she doesn't want to. Initially, when you meet her at the beginning, she doesn't want to go against her brother's wishes. But the more you get close to her, the more she realizes she wants to be her own person. The more she stands up for herself, and by the time when the fifth date rolls around, she is fully her own person. Just repeatedly, just basically spits on Dorian's face, metaphorically, just in Dorian's like shouting at her, and always just like nonchalantly, eyes closed, soft smile on her face, just like goodbye,
Goodbye,
Dorian, and
Dorian.
goodbye, Dorian, repeatedly, over and over and over again. It's honestly incredible. The character development
Goodbye,
she has.
Dorian.
Goodbye, Dorian. The character development she has is, to be honest, I think the best in the entire game. When looking at all the kills, looking at all the kills in this tier list and kills that we've yet to talk about, no other killer has, in my opinion, has gone through nearly as drastic of a change in personality and to be her own person than Elle has. And when I said earlier that Cassie wasn't a darkest story, that might have come as a surprise to some people, but this is the darkest story because, well, first of all, you Dorian and Elle's relationship is incest, which, yeah.
Well,
I would say that's pretty.
it's more that Dorian wishes it was, and that Elle is aware that he feels that way, but never returned his advances and did everything in her power to like shut him down.
Yeah,
Cause
but
that final thing where she's like, "I will never," like she says all this stuff like, "I will never be your lover," or if you ever like imagine us kissing or holding hands or even having sex, like that's like, oh my god.
yeah, it's just doesn't. That's so hard. It's just so freaking wonderful. But again, it's just in the final date, it's like really what sells it. I mean, even the fourth date. I mean, in my opinion, her secrets of the five Drescent Girls is the hardest hitting. And in the final date, I like that you have the option to reveal, have two ways of revealing Elle's relationship with Dorian, which I think one is severely worse than the other. You have the option to do a video call with her because the storm is too bad, and the lights go out and the screen goes black and question mark, question mark, question mark messages you in the rage, in a frenzy, saying if I can have Ellen, no one can, and you see Ellen in like a bloody pool, heavy disturbing. But I didn't know that if you call Fumi in that case, that she recovers and she lets you know, which I think is a horrible is a horrible reveal. And of course, if you decide to go to a house, obviously the whole confrontation happens, which I think is just so cathartic. So for all that mentioned, and even apart from that, the fact that she's just so adorable. Like both the chibi deaths are, in my opinion, the two most adorable ones in the all of Hush Hush. All the Destined ones, chibi ones is deaths. One where she just dies from embarrassment, and one where she just gets kidnapped by the UFO. um, uh, and yeah, she overall, it's just nice that even despite being led around by Toy for so long time, all it took was her getting to interact with you for her to break out of her shell and go against his wishes. So all of that is to say she's my first S tier, and yeah, there you go.
I mean, yeah, basically, so it's the thing. L upon first impressions feels like kind of like not very connected to the main story that's going on. Doesn't feel very like she's great, but she definitely feels weak at first. Then you start getting to the stuff about Dorian, especially that the party, and then everything that happens after. You get to meet her, you get to know her. I think the entire event of you two like spending time alone talking about like lewd stuff. I think that's one of my favorite scenes in the game because it's just like here you have this girl who has been sheltered her entire life. She has always had these feelings, and just never been able to express them properly. And then she finally gets to meet somebody that she gets to like talk about these things with. She gets to be open and honest and like talk about lewd stuff with someone, and it's like exciting for her, and like that's really cute. Even though they're talking about lewd stuff, it's adorable because of how she is, and I really like it. And then you get to that final date, and it's like it's not only can you get that first learn that Dorian like knows about the goddesses and everything, but like all that stuff about it makes like the entire thing. Learning all this stuff about Dorian makes that entire storyline so much like it puts it into a completely new light, and it's so satisfying to see her stand up to him and everything, and it's really cool. And then, at least for me, when I was playing it, um, and she's like, "Oh yeah, he's the leader. I think he controls like gangs and stuff." I was like, "You're fucking joking. Dorian's the fucking drug deal leader? He's the fucking boss?" And it's like, that's so insane to learn, because then it's like, you think that Dorian's just only related to this row, and he's already bad enough for all the shit that he does. But then you find out he's connected to everything else through her route. Everything's like, that entire final date is such a roller coaster. It's insane. And it's just, I love her and her storyline so much. It's so good and so well done. It's amazing. I love it. Her voice is also perfect.
um, these next two are gonna go in a pair. And we're gonna do it. Well, I think we're doing it together, but it's just how quickly they're both gonna be. The two guys that Dimitri tries to get Lois to flirt with, I cannot tell you the names.
Nim is this one. Well, okay, so she flirts. Nim. No, I think it's one guy and three girls, isn't it?
It's between Iro and Lotus, and between Mio and Peanut.
I don't think does she flirt with Kelby? I don't remember.
Uh,
I
I
remember Nim,
know
I remember Liliana, and I remember Alice.
I think
I
because
don't think
I
so.
know I know that he appears in Cassie's date, but I'm not sure if that's no. I don't. Hmm. Uh, well, either way, we can just do them together because there's not like much
Okay,
to
that's fine
say about
because
either.
Kelby isn't really much. Um, Nim is adorable. He's they constantly describe him as a bunny, which is an inside joke from the, so the premise of Crush Crush is just like that through these different these girls you like accidentally like do wrong by them in some way, you have to make it up to them, and then you start dating them and all that. the The premise of Blush Blush is that you accidentally like through like a mistaken spell or something, you accidentally turn a bunch of guys into animals. You have to like
What?
romance you have to romance them to get them to turn back into humans. Or something like that. It's really funny. And the reason that they call him a bunny is because that's what he is. He turns into a rat. He turns into a rabbit. He's the very first character. He's very adorable. He's a definition of like a cinnamon bun kind of character. He's doesn't have much of a presence in this game, but I do like what they did do with him. He's very cute. I really like him. I wouldn't want to put him down in C because I wouldn't say he's like bad. It's just because he has little presence, but his presence is very enjoyable whenever he does show up, especially with the stuff like Eli too. Kelby, however, um, is just not as enjoyable. His scene, the only really redeeming thing he has is I really like his scene with Liliana because it's really funny. Um, but stuff with Iro, the event with Iro isn't very interesting. The event with Cassie isn't really all that interesting. So, he doesn't really have much going for him. Plus, he's a jock, and like I never find those characters interesting, really. So he's gonna stay down there.
Right. So both Nim and Kelby are gonna go in CTF for me because there's not much to talk about.
Above or
Nim is
below
gonna
them?
be below them, please, both of them. Nim. I mean, they're both fine characters. They're not bad, but they have just no scenes to justify them to be any higher. The only scene that Nim has is the scene with Lotus, in which I mean, it is he is precious in that scene, but that's really all he gets. He, um, stuttering, adorable, embarrassed that a girl is flirting with him, I guess. But yeah, it's basically just not much to go off of. And then Kelby, same thing. He appears in the cafe. Cassie talks shit on him, and uh, given that you're on a date with Cassie, you're more likely to choose to support her, which unfortunately, drives Kelby away. So that's not much I can say there. He does get a scene, of course, a funny scene with Liliana, but again, the one funny scene is not enough. Is not enough for uh to set up to this everyone else. So that's where both of them are gonna go. Just two quick ones.
Hey, um, hmm. Do you want me to? I'll ask you. Do you want another heavy hitter or like a mid range?
Um. Uh. Do you do you want to save like the all the heavy hitters for like last, or
No,
or
I'm
do you
trying to
want
like scatter them around a little bit
to? Okay.
because you still have like three heavy hitters,
I do. Yes. Um.
which two of them are mine, also mine.
So it's up to you. Go
You know what? We'll do it because I think we're gonna have fairly different opinions on it. Let's do Alpha.
To be completely honest, this ranking is gonna be solely based off of how I feel about this girl's design and voice and personality. But I don't care. She goes above L. Uh, I'm sorry. Normally, it's really funny because normally, and I know some people are gonna crucify me for this, but I'm not much of a fan of Vocaloid. I unfortunately think like a lot of the Vocaloid tuning is the same, sounds the same, and in many cases ruins otherwise good songs. So imagine my surprise when you have a character who is basically Hatsune Miku coming to life in a game of Hush Hush where she is dateable. And she blew me away from the very first impression. For context, before Red invited me, or before, um, right shortly after me, I agreed to play Hush Hush with Red. Um, I sh- I don't remember if I decided on my own volition or she asked me, but I decided to take a look through the characters and see who
You
my
did you did that on your own volition. I did not ask you
okay
at all.
okay then who my favorite characters based off of first impressions of Zion are. And of the few, it was Quill, uh, Mio, I think, and Alpha. Uh, I think, unfortunately, she suffers from a lack of scenes too. I really, really wish she got more scenes because I like her a lot. I think she has one of the best design. I think she's one of the prettiest characters in terms of her design in the entire game. I think her voice is one of the prettiest. Is one of, if not the prettiest in the entire game. I think the CG where you meet her in the downtown area where she's leaning back and she has the sunglasses on is, well, I mean, she has the sunglasses on all the time, but like where she like introduces herself is one of the prettiest ones in the entire game. I think her singing voice is beautiful and is a complete contrast to like my opinion of like vocal killers. I think her goodbye in the last date genuinely got me emotional because it just maybe it's because I like her so much, but
And
it's just
I even find it funny that the game says that too. It's like, man, that the game even says that one, this one hurts.
this one hurts really bad, yeah. And simultaneous, I guess this technically related, but as someone who loves Oshinoko, this is that might go into the list ranking as well, given that she's an idol. All in all, yes, she does. She compared to the other everyone else who's gonna be in this tier, she doesn't have nearly as much prevalence, really any at all. But just purely based off of everything she else has going forward, I cannot tell you a single negative besides that the game didn't give her enough time. But that's not her fault, so she's gonna go here, in my opinion.
Meanwhile, I think in Crush, Alpha is unfortunately one of the most forgettable characters. So I was kind of surprised to see her popping up in this game. Not only that, I think it was just kind of bad for me for the start because not only did I was like not expecting her because uh she was one of the least memorable, but that I fucked up her introduction and never got to date her. I didn't even get to like properly see her date until I had to restart the game, and then do it properly the second time around. Um, she definitely grew on me more. Your love for her is genuinely really infectious, and it grew. I grew to like her a lot more. Her voice is genuinely adorable. Her singing voice is also really really pretty. Um, I think she's incredible. Just you're right. She just does not get enough to really do much with her. Like it's hard to think of her too for me to think of her too highly because she just doesn't have too much going for her. Feels like she has the least definition of all like the dateable side characters, which is really unfortunate. Um, I prefer her crush design personally. Not like the art. The art in this one is better, but I prefer her design in Crush more. Um, although
Blasphemous.
her existence just really makes me like be like what I so is sequel, did Crush happen, what the hell, it's really confusing. um where to put her though. Right here.
Oh crap! That's disrespectful. Ah! um, another pairing that technically goes hand in hand: Dimitri and Lotus.
Dimitri and okay, well, yeah, sure, we can do that together. um Dimitri is definitely not like a super strong first character, but his part he has a very memorable like personality. His interactions with his sister are really fun, extremely relatable, and extremely realistic. Just him saying the most dumbass shit, and then she's like, "Can you please stop embarrassing me?" It's really funny and really adorable, and I'm glad that he's so supportive of her. He's a really good brother to her, like just constantly like saying, being supportive, constantly encouraging her, being like, I know you can do this. I know you're better than this. I know that you are like a very desirable person. You can date. You can. I know that there are a lot of people that would want to date you. You just have to like be more confident. And I really like their like little storyline together. Um, honestly surprised me how much I liked him by the end, as well. Um, I'm gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna fill up my B tier so much because we keep doing these, but I don't really care too much. And then Lotus herself is extremely adorable. Very cute voice, very cute character. She was also probably like a top 5 for me for in the phone flings and Crush. So to get to see her getting an inclusion as well, made me really happy. I'd say like 3 out of my top 5 phone flings got representation in this game, and that makes me really, really happy. The only ones that didn't were like Lake and Sawyer, which is kind of unfortunate. They were really cool, but I kind of get how they might have been harder to implement. Um, I don't know why when I was first playing the game, I don't know why the fact that Lotus had like an accent was surprising to me. It's like that feels like that should be extremely obvious. I guess I just never thought about it. Um, and also again the whole the references to Crush and everything, um, with some of her voice lines, everything, and her also providing extra like stat points to you every day is really cool. Um, I think they're very fun, and I really like that they had this little mini storyline together, and it was really cool.
So this is where I feel like I'm gonna be the bit more negative one because, unfortunately, I'm gonna start with Dimitri. Unfortunately, I know, I know that from the foundation he's a good brother, as you mentioned. But at the same time, I just couldn't bring myself to fully like him. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's I think I do know. I think it's because like he's always so pushy of Lotus, even when it's clear he's making her uncomfortable, which is a huge no for me. But I know he's doing that from the goodness of his heart, and he is supportive. He is encouraging, and it depending on the choices, it does work out, does or does not work out. But at the same time, I just can't. Okay, this might be mean to say, but he he almost feels like a creeper to me because I anytime because when the interactions with like when when like any girl walks in, Dimitri's like always there, just like says something suave, complimentary. It's just I don't know. It's just getting
I
really
just take that more as that he likes to flirt with people, but he never does it like maliciously, you know.
right. Yeah, I get that.
He's just
Uh,
trying to like I think he's the kind of person who sees the beauty in everybody. He just finds
okay.
people attractive, really. And he's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna swing. I'm gonna go for it. I might as well. I know that I'm attractive. They're attractive. I'm gonna go for it. If they say no, then they say no. But I want to go for it. And
Okay.
he
I mean,
to me he never comes across. He is like the only person that I ever think he's really like truly aggressive with is his sister. But again, it's like you said, it's because he's trying to get her to be like, you're better than you think you are. You can get these people. You can get someone to fall in love with you if you try.
mm, yeah. Okay.
But with like everybody else, like he does flirt. But I will say, I would say that if he never does it in a way that's like like he's not the I don't take no for an answer kind of person, really.
hmm.
Not like a genuine no.
Yeah. Okay. I get that. I mean, I guess another point is that against him is like he's has like a check. Otherwise, just get soft locked or like get game over if you don't have
He's one
enough
of the
points.
game. He's one of the traps.
One of the traps. Yeah.
To be fair,
So
though, he also is the one that instigates one of the cutest deaths in the entire game.
sure. Okay, you know what? Fine. Initially, I was gonna put him at the top of C. I think he's gonna instead go at the bottom of B. As for Lotus, Lotus is very sweet. I do think she's very nice, innocent. I do like her reactions anytime you troll her. When like somebody, if you decide to troll her, what some of your choices when you flirt with her, when she flirts with someone else. And of course she
I
was
think the funniest one is just telling her to straight up like either like just like compliment like Alice's boobs.
yeah. And she like I think she squeals or like screams or like just something, and it's just yeah, and then it just goes terribly wrong. I was like, "Well, I'll be back." And it's like everything just ends. It's just so funny. But apart from that, she suffers from the fact that she isn't dateable. I feel like she would have been um uh, an opportunity to date her would have been nice, which I think is kind of a missed opportunity because the whole thing is that Dimitri's trying to get Lois to flirt with people, and then all of a sudden she's an option for you, which I guess is just weird to me. But I guess she is responsible. I mean, not I guess she is responsible for uh, the whole cafe thing and giving you points per day, which I always appreciate. So yeah, I'm gonna put her hmm between hmm. Hmm. I'm gonna put her in the top. No, no, but between Harris and Liliana, please.
Annabelle.
Bonnabelle. Um. Now this is another Kyoto that um I'm not too fond of, but no, no, I'm gonna say I do like her. I do like her. I every time she shows up, I I never like roll my eyes. I never groan. I never like put my hands on my face and like sigh or anything like that. She is enjoyable, but the problem is, I guess this is a very personal thing, but I just don't really like these mommies to it. No, like the MILF, the things. So
MILF?
um,
You not
the
just
MILF,
say
yeah.
MILF?
Sorry. Um, um, it's
She's
just
not a MILF.
sorry. I guess I guess it's just the way talks, the way she talked has never uh gotten through to me. all of her dates has never really stood out to me. She never really has anything noteworthy. Though the best thing I can say is that she's related to Peanut, and Peanut is Peanut. We'll get her later. Uh, the she is supportive. She is kind. She does wish the best for you, and um, I honestly just don't really have much to say about this one. I'm sorry. I think she's just yeah, she's just not for me, unfortunately. I'm gonna. I by no means hate her, but at the same time, I she's in an awkward position where I don't really fully like her, but I don't dislike her by any means. I'm gonna place her, but no, I'm gonna place her at the bottom, top of B tier. I'm sorry. I think, yeah,
Top of B.
yes, please.
So I will say too, for me, I didn't. She's not the kind of person that I like either. Really, I like her accent. It's cute and all, and it's fun, and I like how nice she is and everything. But even in like the main game, I always found her siblings were more interesting than her. I like her interactions with Peanut. They're very cute. Uh, I don't know, her storyline. She doesn't really have a storyline even. I just don't really care for her too much either. I feel like I should like her more than I actually do. Um, I don't know if that's too harsh or anything. uh, I feel like I like her or don't like her as much as I should. But she also doesn't really have anything going against her either. It's like at least with like Lotus and Dimitri, at least they also have like events, storylines going on. They give you the stat boost and everything as well. Visiting Bonnie doesn't really do anything, and I don't find her as interesting as Eli, so that doesn't make it worth it to me either. So I feel like top of C is where she's probably gonna stay for me. She also has I think my least favorite sex scene in the game too.
This is gonna be a quick one. Not L.
Bella, I really like Bella. She doesn't get too much screen time. Um, but what she does get, I like her for how much she makes you panic after the event with Peanut. I love how she makes you panic so hard because she's like, it's like, what the fuck is this, L? What the fuck is happening? Oh my god, who are you? Why do you look like L? And it's just such a panic, and it's really funny and cool. And then even after you find out everything that's going on, or at least once you find out that's not L, it's like she still adds so many questions and intrigue. She gives you so much confusion and worry. It's fascinating. And she also provides a little bit of extra backstory into Dorian because they'll talk about like their relationship with each other, and like once you know the context of everything, it's like, oh yeah, he's like a monster in bed and everything. He always wants to do really weird stuff. It's like, and then you get that extra idea. It's like, oh, he probably wants to do all that to Elle too. That's creepy. And it's like she's just so good at like adding that extra layer of just ick to Dorian, and it's beautiful. But on her own rate, she's also just like she doesn't have many appearances, but she's really enjoyable for the few times that she does show up. And I'm always happy to like see her in here. She has a really pleasant voice as well, and like even though she is like derivative of Elle's design on purpose, she kind of nails it too. It's like the slight subtle differences with like the hair and everything. I really like her design as well.
So
Oh,
Bella,
and her being one of the her final scene at the end where it's like it made of just also that extra layer of like even though Dorian has been dating her for a year, he's still perfectly fine with you fucking killing her. Everything, her entire existence is just to make Dorian even worse, and I kind of love it.
So Bella to me is she suffers from the Nim and Kelpie syndrome, in which she does have some good scenes. Okay, she in the which is only accessible in the Peanut DLC. She gives you a massive jump scare in thinking that in the party, she's L, in which case, uh,
Silly
it's
Ark, why
people
would you assume that somebody doesn't have the Peanut DLC? What loser wouldn't have the Peanut DLC?
had pet. We- but anyway, yeah, she gives a massive jump scare in the you know party, and making you think that she's L, and then in the next L date, you're left with even more questions than answers, which I think is really funny. I think it's really again, I do agree that her whole purpose is somewhat is putting Dorian in an even worse light than the main story does, which I think is honestly really funny. But aside from that, the only scenes she gets is her just being romantic with Dorian, which is a big surprise, um, and friendly towards you, and that's basically it. There's only two other scenes he gets apart from that. You can run into her in one of the events, in which she doesn't really say anything too memorable from what I can remember, and Dorian captures Alice and her and tells you to shoot one of them, or execute one of them, which there she of course is having a full blown panic attack, understandable too. So it doesn't really add much substance there. So yeah, she does have some better scenes than of course Nim and Kelby, but at the same time, it's just she is suffering from like lack of is she's basically just like L light, I was gonna say, which I guess is um reflected in her design as well. I'm gonna put it in the top of C.
Oh, okay. Iro.
Oh, Eero.
Do you need to break it all?
No, I'm good. Eero's great. Uh, I mean, all of the destined ones remaining. Well, I mean, there's only two left, but uh, uh, they're both. Eero's wonderful. She. How do I put this? She. Whereas the other destined girls, I guess she competes with Elle for like the most flat line of the storylines, until you reach the final date. Uh, well, no, because the first, second, and third dates, um, are kind of like I don't want to say whatever, but are not the most interesting, as it tends to be with Destined Girls. The third date is when you start to learn about the whole family thing. Um, I repeatedly feel bad for her because you you constantly make her jealous with kissing Mio when in Mio's date where you two are playing Protomon, have the option to, and then Io leaves, and then with a look of longing on her face. And then later on her date, you get to make her jealous again with Cassie. Uh, and then in a fourth date, you tone her down harshly, and then she punches you and runs off, which is
Fair.
brutal. Um, uh, And then the fifth one rolls around, and then you learn the truth about her death. Oh no, no death, her mother's death. Wow. Um, you learn that um, her you learn about her father's relationship with her, and it's just she's a great killer. Don't get me wrong, she's a great killer, but I guess just all of the Destiny Girls, as mentioned again, she has the least interesting beginning. I want to say, she's just like this typical uh uh girl who likes to exercise at the beginning, and it's not until you reach the fourth state, which is one later than the all the other ones uh, tend to have their big moments, that you realize that there's more to her. Because the start of the fourth day is when you confronted by Fumi and her dad, and naturally, as with all of the Destiny except for Quill in the fifth dates, you get a huge bombshell. Which I will say that bombshell, that big reveal, is the most emotional of the five, which I do think is respectable in of itself. I do think her relationship with uh, her friends, Euro, no, not Euro. Yeah, relationship with herself.
She's
Uh,
great friends with herself.
uh, with uh, Eli, Callie, her interaction with Elle, um, and just really anyone she comes across, just makes her. Obviously, you get the impression that she's good with anyone, and it tends to be with all the Destiny, but um, but again, it's just I don't have too much to say. Again, I do think she's the most flat, and then all of a sudden you get to the 14th, and you have like a bit of a pulse, like the up and down, and you get the fifth one, and she just go like shoot up, and it shoots like she just like, shoots right up. Which again, it's not really anything special to me, which it feels mean to say, but it's the reveal about what happened with the mom's death is genuinely like one of the best parts of the game, and her voice acting is a fantastic freaking job in that scene too. But there's just not much I want to say that makes her stand out relative to the story, which feels sad and mean to say, unless I'm just forgetting something, which I'm sure Red can catch me up on this.
The main
But
thing
for
is that
now,
I think the different ways that you can learn about her mom is interesting. I think I find her interesting that you can find out her secret through a completely different event rather than her third um dates. Like you could go to the winery and find the a really pretty CG of her and learn about her mom's death before she ever tells you. I think that is a little bit. It adds a little bit of uniqueness to her character, in my opinion.
but for now, she's gonna go to the top of 8 here.
Eero's, I think she's a very decent introduction to the game. Her and Eli, very fascinating. Her story is interesting. Um, though I do think it is one of the ones that like it takes a little bit for you to get fully invested with her. Um, Also the hardest to get like properly in her to get like properly invested in like dating you and everything, which I mean makes sense given everything that everybody else says and everything. But still, it is something to note that she is fairly difficult to like start getting used to you in a way. But I'm not sure how to phrase it either. she's not super interesting for the first half of her storyline, but the second half definitely saves it. Um, Although it feels like she's also one of the she after Mio, she's the least connected to the main story, and that's mainly through her father having done stuff rather than her, which is kind of unfortunate, and I kind of wish it wasn't exactly like that. But I really liked. I remember really liking her in Crush Crush, so I'm very happy that she got to actually be given more depth and more interesting stuff in this one, and I really like her voice. I love the serious moments with her. She had her final date has some of the best voice acting in the entire game, in my opinion. I think she's generally a great character. Just it's definitely got its highs and lows, I would say. But overall, I'd say she's one of the better ones.
Um, well, let's knock Eli too out of the way.
I really love Eli. I like Eli for being really cool and interesting, like gender fluid, gender fluid representation. I really like his flirty nature. He's really adorable. He's literally voiced by my favorite male voice actor of all time. I really, really like his dynamic with his sister. It's unfortunate that he doesn't really get much after his last date. I mean, I know none of the side characters really do, but him especially, I really wanted a lot more. I really, really, really wanted more of him. Um, I really wish we could have seen more, but I genuinely really liked Eli way more than I was expecting to. Um, Even if I'm really sad he disappears after the first half of the game after you have a second date. I think he's amazing representation. It makes me really happy whenever that happens.
Eli is an unfortunate victim of, as you mentioned, Psycho is not getting enough screen time in this game because if that was, I mean, if that was the case, Alpha would have gotten a lot more scenes too, and we can both be happy. But that's not the world we live in. But as far as what we did get, I think Eli is a very good introduction to the game alongside Euro. You first get introduced to the both of them, and I think they both make a good first impression. And um, since then, every event that he's in, and just every time he shows up, he always makes his presence known. He always makes it memorable and fun, and that's just honestly, I think that's the best thing I can say about him. It's just that's what a game is all about, is making it fun for the player. In which case, I think that just making his presence again memorable, even despite being a side killer, is the best you can do. And I think he did a great job at that. So I'm gonna throw him uh I'm gonna you know what, I'm gonna put Eli at the top of B2. I'm gonna knock Bonnabelle down a few slots. Um so I'm gonna Bonnabelle is instead gonna go but I'm sorry. She goes between Liliana and Dimitri, which I guess is a pretty big fault. But I can't lie to myself. Okay.
You know what? Let's save like the rest of our heavier hitters. So I want you to do Alice.
Okay. Well, that was what I had in mind too. I know the two I'm gonna save for last for sure. Um. Anyway, Alice. So Alice is unfortunately lacking, unlike Callie. She, as I mentioned in Cal section, she got off on a very bad first impression, and but unlike Kelly, while she is uh clearly friends with Cassie, she never has a moment where she really stands up for her. The scene she gets is the obviously the one in the alleyway alongside Kelly. The one later on where Cassie and Alice are chilling in a bar together, in which case you have the option to say the wrong thing and support Alice's dialogue, which Lois the character's affection, which clearly means that the character is not really
Which I
comfortable around her.
honestly I didn't even know that you could do that until we're doing the evil stuff.
And the next time you see her is all the way when after you convince Cassie to let you join her gang, in which case she gives you a quick rundown and gives you a quick introduction, which thank you, but compared to you standing compared to Callie standing up for Eero and just how much she show she cares, that just isn't good enough. And the last thing she gets is when she gets tied up with Bella, and there she is a lot less freaking out about than Bella is, but at the same time she also doesn't really say much. So this is just kind of nothing. But she's just and she just exists to have flirtations with mugs, and that's basically it. Which I guess is fine. Not every killer needs to be rainbow colors, but I just still compared to Callie, I was let down by her. So I'm gonna put her just like Dorian tied Bella and Alice together and putting her but right behind Bella.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too.
I kind of agree. Between Alice and Callie, Alice is definitely the lesser. She doesn't. It feels like she doesn't show up as much. It feels like her personality isn't any of interesting. Like she's not like they're both. She's flirty like Callie is, but Callie is like a more fun kind of flirting, and Callie like generally feels like she actually cares about things. Alice is just high. Seems like she's just fucking high all the time. She doesn't really care about anything, even when she's literally facing down fucking death. And it's like, I just don't like her nearly as much, really. It feels like they could have done a lot more with her than they did. Especially when you compare her to Callie, who is just so much better. And it's really unfortunate, to be honest. Because the running joke that like every single person that sees her just comments on how fucking huge her boobs are is really funny though.
Oh, these last 4 are great ones.
Are we doing Fumi next?
Yes, please.
Okay, Fumi is weird because I do really like her in this game, but I also feel like at the same time she has like a little bit of missed opportunity. I feel like she's not as fascinating as her Crush counterpart. But it fits better for the story. I mean, obviously. Her being the police officer and being connected to multiple different stories, her being the one to announce the deaths makes sense. It's all really good. I really like her voice. I don't like her sex scenes very much at all, especially her first one. Her first one is one of the worst ones in the game because it's really weird and different. Two different scenes that are two different fucking art styles, and it's really weird. And why did they give her two when you have these major characters that don't get the same fucking treatment? But she's definitely not bad, but I definitely feel like I don't know, something about her always felt like it was kind of lacking for me, and I could never really fully put my finger on why. So put her right there. My last B.
Great. Just one more, you would have gone to the second row. So
I'm still not even fully sure on that placement.
Okay. Anyway, Fumi for me is she does her job well. She does her job as a detective, as a police officer, and as far as police officer and detective mannerisms go, she does fit a bill in terms of personalities. She's strict. She tries to get the job done. She doesn't take any bullshit for an answer. Well, I mean sometimes she does, but like she doesn't really appreciate them. Uh, she you know that she alongside Dorian is trying to find Quill, and I do like that
I
she's
actually
prevailing in
don't
that
know if she's trying to find Dorian or trying to find Quill because of Dorian or because of the security cameras. I think for
well,
Fumi she's looking for Quill because Quill says that she was caught on security cameras.
this is a side killer that has easily the most side scenes of every side killer, which is, I mean, it is understandable. It's for me, I understand that. I even despite not playing Crush Course, I understand that she's probably a very prevalent killer. It makes sense that she will get it.
She's she's funny because not only her introduction is that she's basically like Terminator. She's a time traveler from the future who shows up naked. She's the only character where she starts off naked rather than ending naked at the end. Um, but also, she's just like time traveler from the future. Just funny enough on its own. But then she also gets a phone fling that is another version of her from another timeline that is technically a different character. So there's two different versions of her. And then I think she also gets her dateable version also gets a phone fling. So there's like it's she gets like a surprising amount of attention.
Um, but again, I think the most important part about a killer is that she does what she's supposed to do. She is strict. She gets the job done. I like that she has two storylines. Of course, I like that she's a dateable killer. I mean, obviously. Um, but I like that you have the option to work with her, in which she's nicer to you, or decide not to, or in which case she's a lot more uh meaner and a lot more dismissive. Like, I think the big example is in Ero's fourth date. If you decide to work with uh Fumi, then she's a lot more supportive and a lot more apologetic than if you didn't. I do like the whole confrontation in a love suit. I think that's a very powerful moment. Although
Did you
uh
just say love
I'm
suit?
sweet. Sorry, sorry. Um,
Love
uh,
suit.
yeah, the love suit. Yeah, sorry. Uh, I mean, what do you mean? Sorry. What do you mean? That's not what it's called. Um, uh, every scene where she's talking with a killer, she is very one note. I guess is because it's always just her being um keeping up the detective slash police officer slash serious mannerism. She never really, unlike the other killers like Liliana, she never really like kind of loosens up except for when with you at the very end of the airport. In which case it's like a very real instance, because but I mean that's just one instance, right? But unless I'm just forgetting something, because the only time I can think of where she loosens up is again at the airport, where she gives you the number and then gives you her number, and then she smiles at you and just says, "Well, this is if you want to call me anytime." Well, it's uncharacteristic, but I think it's very sweet. For a conclusion, but even still, that's just not enough, I guess. But at the same time, I can't really bring myself to knock her too much because she does her job. She gets a lot of screen time. She does her role extremely well, and she, as expected, has the most screen time of every side kiddo. So I have to respect that. So I'm gonna put her an A, but where an A? I uh, bottom of A. I'm attacking. Yeah, that
Oh,
wasn't too hard.
okay.
Say Dorian, please.
I was gonna say Dorian, yeah.
Okay. Mm. Okay. Three heavy hitters back to back to back. So this is gonna be a so strap in. Um, Dorian. We already talked about it multiple times throughout this entire tier list, but primarily in the L section. We already know how he is. You meet him and he shows off his facade as this innocent, protective brother to L. But the more you progress in the game, the more you learn about these girls, the more that you learn about the Killers' secrets, and the more you delve, especially into L's storyline expectantly, you learn just how deranged he is, how controlling, and how to his whim the entire premise of the game is. I think the entire thing about how he was once in your shoes, but straight from that path is really interesting. I think his voice actor does again, I can't stress enough, phenomenal job. He is absolutely the most cathartic of all the villains to take down, because you not unfortunately, but you can't save him when you have a final confrontation with him. He goes from this innocent just want to protect L to, which ironically, his protection of L is also linked to the fact that he just wants L for himself, which you find out later on. Which I mean is something you could do in the second playthrough in hindsight. But and then you will get to the but again, just seeing how all the Kyoto's stories connect to this one Kyoto. Oh, bless you. Seeing how much of a control, how much of a firm grip he has over the course of this entire city, rather, because as he's raging in a frenzy to L, he's clearly shown to have a grasp on the reputation of the people in the city toward L, and her allowance / inheritance, if I remember correctly. So he clearly has a lot of control, and you of course you learn that with him. You are alone with him, and he holds you at gunpoint, and you two have talk by stressing the word talk in the furthest way possible. But at the same time, it's just what a great. He's just a great killer through and through. He is absolutely one of my favorite villains in honestly all of. He's definitely one of my favorites in all of gaming, potentially even all of media, because just how fascinating and interesting a killer he is. Because the fact that
I'm so glad that you feel the same way.
That Dorian was once in your shoes, but strayed toward being like this. And at the very end, you have the option to become the next Dorian. Just means that the cycle is going to constantly repeat itself. So, I think that's just so so interesting, so fascinating, and he is absolutely as a fantastic killer and just one of the most interesting killers. I'm gonna put him above. I'm above the top of S tier, above Alpha.
You've summed it up perfectly. He's an incestuous, murderous, evil piece of shit, and I fucking love him. He is genuinely one of my favorite villains I have ever seen. The entire build up to his character, the subtle hints throughout the game, subtle foreshadowing, the way it all gets revealed in L's stuff first, and then you find out not only is he a fucking piece of shit in L's route, but he's also the mastermind behind literally everything else in the game, and it's fucking insane, and that's already cool enough. But then you go to his office and you talk to him, and you find out, oh yeah, he was also a fucking chosen one, and he went through all this shit. And not only that, he was just he was the most recent in a line. And it's like you found out all this stuff, and it's like this this goes way deeper, and it's so cool. Every single thing around him is so fascinating and awesome, and he seems like he's gonna be such a cool character to talk about because he's so psychologically fascinating in every way. And it just, God, I love him so much. His voice actor does such a good job. His final CG with the gun is really intimidating and cool. I fucking love this man for as terrible as he fucking is. It's cool. That's it. You already summed up most of it.
It's okay. You'll sum up all of my thoughts when it comes to Peanut next.
Is that who we're going with?
It is.
Oh, oh, Peanut. Peanut was my love, my crush in Crush, funnily enough. And then come to this game, and she is the perfect voice, perfect personality. She is unbelievably adorable. She has so many different beautiful outfits. She is so amazing and funny and cute and pleasant, and she shows up so much, and she makes herself so worth the money. And her first date is the longest date in the entire game, which is really cool. And sure, her getting to that final date and seeing her in her fucking iconic sweater after not seeing it throughout the entire game, and then she wears just the fucking sweater, is fucking hot. And seeing her talk about how her love for you and how it fucking made me like cry because it was the exact same way that I described my love for Ark. And then not only that, then you also get to the very end of the game and she has her actual her fucking amazing full outfit from Crush, and it's so perfect and beautiful, and the CG is incredible, and I love every single fucking thing about her because she's just the perfect fucking person.
YouTube watch us skip 2 hours. This is gonna go on for a while.
I love her. She is she was already like top tier character for me. The Crush. Hush Hush made her one of my top 10 like of all time. Just period. I love her. So she's one of the people. She's the character that I wish was like a real person. Just so I could just like hug her. Cause I love her. She's so perfect. Okay. I'm done.
You sure?
yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. So, yeah, Peanut. I mean, obviously, okay. I'm not gonna say. I can't even bring myself to say. Obviously, deal with a straight face. Yeah, obviously, top of S. It's not. I mean, there isn't anybody anywhere else for these last two top of S, both of them. It's just, I mean, one would obviously Peanut first. Top of S because, I mean, as I mentioned, you summed up my thoughts perfectly. All of her outfits are amazing. Every single one of them. Her personality is perfect. You summed up with uh her words in the final date uh perfectly because as you mentioned before I agreed to play Hush Hush with my darling here, she showed me a clip of Peanut's final date and of her getting emotional over what she was saying. And just from that alone, well, not from just from that alone, because I joined her for a session, but only briefly. But when I looked over, um, to see what was happening in the playthrough, I saw a glimpse of. Well, I didn't see a glimpse. I caught an eyeful of Peanut's introduction CG, and my immediate thought was, "Wow, she's pretty." And yeah, she absolutely is. She is gorgeous. She loves astronomy, which both of us shared in this show. She has a wonderful personality and supportive no matter what. She throughout the entire time, from the beginning, she makes a mistake. The whole date you have with her is just trying for her to repay you, even though like you can say at the very beginning like you forgive her, but she still insists that she actually wants to do everything she can to make it up to you, which I think is very sweet, and it's just like me for real. Uh, um, but yeah, I can't really I can't sing enough praises about this girl enough. I think if you really want like all of her thoughts, just listen to Red Section again. But she basically summed it up perfectly. She's of the two of us. She's definitely the bigger Peanut fan. But let's not just say I don't.
Yeah, I've had a crush on this woman for the last like 8 years.
But uh, but yeah, not to say I don't love her. I freaking love her, and I also agree that she's become just part of my top 10 favorite killers as well, because she's pretty and her personality is perfect, and we relate to her heavily, and she's just amazing through and through. And then, last but not least, yeah. Now, before I begin, I just want to start by saying I swear this wasn't intentional, but I love that in S tier, Mio and Peanut are beside each other, but Elle and Dorian have one kill in between them. So that's like you
The
know,
Alpha's the bouncer.
yeah. Alfred's is like the one that's like just like stretching her arms, it's like no, you can't touch your sister.
That's bad
You
touch.
can't
That's
touch
bad touch.
that's bad touch. And then meanwhile, Mio and Peanut's like, oh, well, what about that? How about that? Well, anyway, uh, anyway, um, Mio. Mio is a doozy for me. Is uh I don't know exactly what it was, but from just her introduction, I almost immediately just began to love this girl. I normally don't believe in the whole 11 first sight thing, and I mean even with her, but even with me, it took a bit of time. But she grew on me so quickly, it's unreal. Cute, cute gamer girl, very playful, teasing, cute voice, cute design, has a very interesting storyline. Her fourth date is in her fourth date, and the whole uh opening up to you and getting emotional to you and revealing everything is amazing. Her fifth date does kind of fall short of the fourth one, unfortunately. The third date of her being a streamer and you get to join a stream, I think is phenomenal. I think it's very unique. I think it's something that the only thing the only time it happens in all of Hush Hush where you get to join someone's stream and get to watch someone else play live and get to join an auction. The fact that you get to see her open up to you throughout the second date to the point where at the very end she tells you there's a stalker. It's very powerful. The whole
The way that she says it. She
Mhm.
just like there's silence and then I have a stalker. And then like there's
Uh,
a moment after where she's like, why did I say that? Why did I say that?
mhm. And then let's see. Uh she has a very beautiful beach CG in the second date, which, uh, yeah. Every time she gets excited about something, it's freaking contagious. Every time she wins in something against Rory, uh, or like just gets excited in general about Pronomon, it's just again contagious and always brings a smile to my face. There are very few killers for me who, anytime they show up on screen, I just immediately smile. There are very few killers for me that anytime they're happy and energetic, I also feel that same energy, match that same energy, rather. Um, but Mio does that for me. And the funny thing is that I never played Crush Crush. my entire opinion about her has only been about Hush Hush, and to this day, I still can't tell you about what it is that made her steal my heart so badly. But it's just she's just freaking perfect, and she has easily become like top 5, top 3 of my all-time favorite video game killers in or slash media. So, and I can honestly say that with certainty because anytime she shows up on screen, anytime she texted me, I got excited. Anytime she showed up on screen, I smiled. Anytime she was happy, I smiled too. Anytime she was sad, I honestly got a little emotional. And I was genuinely like, um, I think the whole reason that her her storyline the isn't the greatest. I think that goes for L, but I think part of the reason why I also like Harris so much is because that I love Mio and um I just want to be protective of the people I love, you know. Um, so just it's just amazing through and through, and also just her texting "I love you" to made me have like the most girliest scream, as we can attest. Um, so yeah, just through and through. And also because I enjoy me and my darling enjoy shipping Mio and Peanut together. So that's also
Which was
another.
perfect that they had a scene in together, Peanuts
I've
first
probably
date,
had a
and it
scene
was like
where
so perfectly flirty.
so perfectly flirty and so like open to possibilities if like they got like more time together. So yeah,
I like to imagine that because it's funny. They say that the memories fade. The specific memories of us fade from their minds whenever we leave. So I like to imagine that if we pick somebody other than Mio and Peanut, they end up finding each other again and they date instead.
that's canon. That's canon. Anyway, all in all, I mean, I can I can gush about this girl like for another hour, but I'm gonna cut myself off because I'm sure everyone gets a point. I love her so much. So it's your turn.
She's we gotta stand off up here. We gotta keep Dorian and Elle away from each other, and they're keeping each other away from each other to like keep them safe. I love Mio. In Crush Crush, Mio was like, for as much as the characters didn't have too much personality in Crush Crush, I did always like Mio, because I found her cute. I mean, Gamer Girl, I fucking weak to that. She's very cute, very funny, very pretty, and enjoyable. And then you get to Hush Hush, and I also kind of fell in love with her at first sight, and also the first time hearing her voice. It was like, oh my god, that voice is so perfect. I love it. And then her being the first person that you properly date is really cool, and it's a really good first date. Her laugh is pretty. I love her storyline, even if it's not really connected very well to to like the main story or anything. I still think it's one of the most like enjoyable. She's an incredible, enjoyable character. She has great taste in people. She likes Ruri and she likes Peanut, so she has great taste in people. Um, and she's just like one of the embodiments of cuteness, in my opinion. Just adorable in every possible way. Um, you summed up so much about her already, so I don't think I have too much to add really. Um, she's one of the few characters that I added to my Tomodachi Life Island, if that tells you anything. So yeah. Okay. Any final movements?
um, no, Nestia for sure. 8Q. Um, shift quill above beside Eero, please. Um. Uh. Hmm. Shift Cassie beside Quill. That's disrespectful to her. Um. That's it for A. B. This is the tier I'm most uncertain about, actually. Um. That's fine. That's fine. Lotus beside Kelly, please. Um. That's fine. And then no, that's it. Cool.
For the entire thing?
That's it.
I think that's good for me too.
Right, nice. Blasphemous alpha positioning, but I forgive you.
Alright, so this is mine, and this is Ark's.
You know, no surprise that like once again mine's a lot more. Well, actually, no. Yours is actually more like a bell curve this time. Surprisingly, normally it's like all up and down.
Yeah. Great, amazing, incredible game. I cannot wait to talk about it. I have a feeling that's going to be one of the most fun videos I've ever made. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to see more, and we'll see you in the next one. Love, love.
Love, love.